Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to bring to you a very interesting video. So what I want to do is that I want to react to my old logos. Yesterday I was walking or actually driving in my hometown. Right now I'm in my hometown. And so I was actually looking at one of the logos that I created about like 15 years ago. And I had this idea of actually reacting to the logos that I created back then. So if you guys don't know, I started designing since 2006 and then all the way to 2013, where I actually started working at Amazon until last year, 2020. And right now I'm actually relaunching my own business in 2021. So there was like a period of time where I actually totally stopped doing logos. There was like a part of like 6 years from 2006 that I created like about 50 or something logos. So today I want to react to those because I think there is a lot of things that we can learn because, like I would say 99% of them are like super bad. In today's standards. Back in those days, I only designed basically based on aesthetics. So yeah, that's what the video is going to be about. But before I continue, I want to apologize for the bad audio that maybe that I have right now. I am on the road. I'm on an Airbnb. I'm not in my apartment, and I don't have like a cool microphone right now. But I just wanted to do this video because I have a couple of weeks without doing one due to being here taking care of my family. They have been very sick with COVID and stuff like that. So yeah, I wanted to not wait anymore and do this video. So I apologize for the audio. There are going to be maybe dogs barking in on the background. So yeah, sorry for that. All right, so let's begin. I wanted to give you guys some context before. So this is as I mentioned before, since 2013 I worked in Amazon, but before that, since 2006 to 2013, it was like 8 years that I created these logos. It was interesting because at that point, what I did mostly was web design. And so the way that I created a logo is somebody came to me and wanted a website, but didn't have a logo. So I created the logo. I just included it in the package of the website. So to me, it was not, that big of a deal. It was not that important. It was like, oh, so that's necessary in order to create a website. So that was the focus right there. So you will see that maybe the first logos didn't even existed in a white background because of that. So yesterday, this is the one of the signs that I passed by, and so one of the logos that I have created, like more than 10 years ago. So this feels good, like when you create a logo that you can go visit maybe your hometown and you can see that it is still there somehow, because you see that it has some changes to it. So it's really good and feels like it feels kind of like a legacy, like you leave something like a mark in your hometown. So I felt really good. But in the other hand, it's a little bit cringe-worthy because you're like, oh my god, like so bad logos. But I did the best that I had with what I had at that point. So to me, it was like a learning phase at that point. And we didn't have back in those days much learning. Domestica was not out there. The future was not giving that much free content. The world was different back in those days. What I did was just kind of put together a couple of letters and see how they look like. I didn't actually sketch on paper or anything. I just went directly to the software. At that point, I used Adobe Fireworks. So when I came back from the break that I took from 2013 to 2020, I realized that Fireworks was discontinued by Adobe. So it was like a big surprise. So yeah, I had to start learning more about Illustrator, which I already know about, but I had to get updated, and Photoshop. So yeah, this was interesting to see how they're using now the logo. And also I created this one. So the reason for the Y is because this is like they sell glass, and they are like in an intersection, so it forms like a Y. And so yeah, that's how it's called, like the Greek Y. and and so I don't even remember how I came up with this idea. I honestly, at this point, maybe I would lose the roof and just keep the other lines and make them better, and maybe lose the reflection or stuff like that. There's in the shadows, and it has a lot. It has like too much. So yeah. But yesterday, I see that they're still using it in the store, and big signs in the building, and the like kind of the quality of the print is already faded by the time, and I actually see that they're using it in the like a sticker in the cars. So it was really interesting. It felt like good, like saying, "Hey, yeah, look, that I designed that logo." So it was really good, and that's why I got inspired to do this video. This was kind of, I would say that kind of the first logo. This was like so long ago. West Pacific real estate. So you will see that there is a trend here. There's a lot of logos of real estate, and the reason why is because in those days here in Costa Rica, there was like a boom. Like everybody came from the United States to buy a piece of land because it was very cheap, very accessible, and there was no crisis back in those days. So they just wanted to come here, buy a piece of land, and buy a house near the beach, and so that was kind of the dream. And everybody was happy because people were selling their properties, they were having money. The Americans were coming here and they were having their piece of land. So it was like all paradise until 2008, where the was kind of the housing boom. I don't know how I can remember the name of that. There was like a real estate kind of issue there that caused like a ripple effect in countries like Costa Rica. So when that happened, there were like a lot of projects that were under construction that actually never were completed. They were like left in the middle of being constructed. So yeah, there were like a lot of real estate agencies, that just wanted to make money out of selling those properties. So like for instance, this and this one, there are like good examples of people that they just wanted a website to sell those properties, and they were like, I don't have a website, so can you, I don't have like a logo, can you give me one? And I would just, design one, but it was purely aesthetics. There was no strategy here. I was not trying to analyze the brand and trying to understand, what was the DNA of the brand, and, like nothing. I just like look for references and try to look for something that was kind of appropriate for the business, and I just did that. But like looking back, it was like it was purely aesthetics. I didn't know what I was doing. This is of course a logo for a website that I was creating. It was like a directory of restaurants of Costa Rica. It was a project that was never completed, but I would say that if I would call this a logo, is kind of one of the worst logos that I have ever designed. I was actually hesitant to put this one here, but there is so many wrong things going on here, like so many colors. There are like the flags of Costa Rica over there, and like some frames there that resemble kind of menus of a restaurant. The like a spoon, and then an ad, and oh my god, like there are so many things going on here. It's like so bad. This one is another logo of a real estate kind of agency. These are not like big agencies. They're like just people, like individuals selling properties that they just wanted to look legit. But as you can see, I didn't have like a good idea on how to pair good typography. There is no contrast, for instance, here. There's no connection between the symbol and the typography. There are like four colors going on here. So there is like a lot. This one, what I would say is that it's it is not clear if the waves are actually a sea, or it's just like waves and that's it. So kind of ambiguous here. So it says colas or olas, and the truth is that it should say just olas without a c, because that's how you say waves in Spanish. So yeah, and this is like, I mean, when you look at it, it doesn't look like that bad, but it's, just not strategically correct. This is funny. Like there was this guy that wanted to create like a print company, and in those days, the transformers were like, just appearing in the big screen. So he called it Optimus Print. I think it was like kind of a funny name. But as you see, like this is just all over the place. There's the squares. There is not like a natural order or a reason, like a valid reason of that, why those kind of squares are that disorganized. Yeah, I would just put them like there. They look good to me, and that was it. This is awful. This is like so cringe worthy. But it's like a good example of the mindset that was going on back in those days, because we were learning how to create like glass effects, how to create shadows and 3D. And so it was like a game of, how many effects, how many things you can design. So people were impressed by this type of thing. So we're like, oh, wow, you created something that looks like glass. But nowadays, it doesn't impress anybody. And nowadays, that's why less is more. And so, yeah, when I created this symbol, I was like, wow, this looks so beautiful. And I was so proud of it. But now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, no. A lot of things going on. Maybe the typography is not that bad, but yeah, the rest is like, it looks like an icon. Yeah, this is I don't know what to say about this, because man, it's like so all over the place. The real estate name Bienes Raíces, it's like so small. If you reduce this a lot, it's not going to make sense. And then it says again, real estate and law services. So it's like a double kind of identificator or name for whatever the business is. And that kind of accessory that I created that looks like a mountain, but looks like and it's still pointy. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that one. This one I found, and I don't even remember that I created this. It was kind of crazy, but yeah, it's not that bad when you look at it. But again, it's just like putting typography together that kind of looks good and call it a logo. And when you think about it, that's why that's how most of the logos that are out there of, I don't know, like $5 or so. That's what they are. They're just like purely aesthetics. And if you get lucky, they are aesthetically good. But they don't have any strategy behind. They don't have like any thought process. And so the logos that I like to create nowadays, I like them to have some of the DNA of the brand. And I want to be like, really simple, really easy to stay within time. This one is like so awful. This could be one of them. I can be saying like with every logo that this is one of the worst logos that I have created, but man, I have a lot of bad logos. So I just thought that it was so cool to give this perspective to this kind of building that looks like a Roman type of architecture. Yeah, this is so bad. And when you look at it, like the square, it's like a shape, the blue shape that is in the background. It has a drop shadow, but the rest of it doesn't. I don't know. And one of the columns you can see that is kind of transparent, but it's like, why are they transparent? Yeah, so bad. And when I created this one, I thought that, oh, this is so creative. Like, wow, it's a crystal forest. So it's a tree made out of crystal. And so I thought, like, yeah, very creative and everything. But this makes me think that creativity not all the times solves a problem. So it's not a problem of creating something that you can call creative. Because if I create something like this, and yeah, it can be very artistic, very creative, but sometimes doesn't solve the problem that the client has, and creates a new sort of problem. So I don't think this logo is that bad, but it just made me think that my approach in the past was just like, let's make it very creative and let's make it really good aesthetically. And when in reality, what you have to try to do is to create a logo that works for the client. So yeah, this is another mistake that I used to do back in those days, is kind of try to explain what the brand was about. And so this is a problem, because if you put some tomatoes, onions, and like, yeah, the brand is not all about that. This is not everything that it has. The brand has like a lot more than that to offer. So if you just say that the brand is about this, then you're leaving a lot of things behind. So yeah, maybe the classic example for this is the logo of Apple. Like, yeah, they don't sell apples, so you don't have to make the logo explain something. What the main purpose of a logo is to identify the brand. So yeah, this is awful. I mean, when you look at it aesthetically, it's not that bad. It is appropriate in the sense that, have some red and green, red and green and yellow colors that kind of goes with the vibe of a restaurant. The font, the typography is legible, I would say. So yeah, it's not horrible, but it has that mistake of explaining what it does. This is a logo of a church that I used to work for a long time, without retainer. And I created this logo, and I did something that I don't know, I should not have done, which is I kind of stole that shape of a family from somewhere else, and I just put it there. I just thought, oh, this is so good for this logo, and I just put it there. And I also put that swoosh and the cross forming the T. And so there's a lot of elements going on there. Although, again, aesthetically, it doesn't look that bad, but there's a lot of things that are wrong with this logo. And this one was a logo that I did it was kind of the youth part of the church. So it was like the oven. Yeah, it was crazy. This was a logo that I created for that same church. This was about kind of business people that gather to talk about things of the Bible and that kind of thing. So in Spanish it's like it would be like plus group. So they were trying to do more. So that's why the plus is kind of there. So it's trying to play with the concept and it's when you see the logo, it doesn't look that bad. The idea is not that bad, but the problem is the execution. That P and the L, they look really bad. So it's like sacrificing the legibility of the typography for just an idea like this. It's not that, it's not a good idea at the end of the day. This is a logo for, again, like the mistake here is trying to explain with an image what they did. So yes, they sold this type of strawberries that were covered with chocolate. That was what the brand was about. But again, I didn't have to include that in the logo. There's a lot of elements going on. And yeah, this is too much. I don't know if even call this a logo because there's a lot going on. This was the logo that I created for a restaurant. I think this was kind kind of appropriate in the vibe that they were looking for. But again, the problem here is that there is a lot of things going on, and that the style. Look at the style of that. This is an old kitchen that work with wood, so that's kind of the vibe that they were going with. So I would say that the kitchen is good, but the rest of the elements, they don't work together. They're not part of the same style. So that's one of the and there is a lot of things going on here. So yeah, this one was a logo that this was there were like a few logos that I was asked to create, that the client never used, or that the client never liked. But man, I was so proud of this one, because I was like, oh wow, look, this is the name of the flower. I don't know how to say this in English. I'm sorry, but you know what the flower is, right? So the woman that was like a dentist, that was her name. So I thought it was very clever to that the logo would be the flower, and because the flower has, white petals, and I would transform them into teeth. So that was the idea that I had, and I made a couple of more flowers so that it would look like more beautiful and stuff. I thought this was a winner. I thought the client was going to love it, but they didn't. And nowadays, I just don't blame them. It's not a good name. So this was one of my last logos that I created. I think that I was getting closer to a more modern style, because I was trying to form an S with siempre verde, which is like always green. So I was trying to form an S. So the idea was good, but it was not well executed. What you can see here is that the logo has no balance. It feels like it's leaning towards one side, and so that's one of the issues. At that point, I was not able to see an issue with this logo. To me, it looked awesome, and it was used. This is a company that export flowers and a lot of things to different countries in the world. So I think that the logo works. The typography, it's kind of readable, but it doesn't connect very well with the symbol, and it looks like super big and has like no space, has no hierarchy. But I think that this logo was like me getting closer to a more modern and minimalistic type of logos, which I like to create. I don't know why this is here. This was a logo that I created for a lawyer. I don't know how to feel about this one, because yes, it's kind of appropriate in the sense that it looks kind of formal and stuff, and I can imagine this being into maybe a page or a printed document, a formal document of lawyers. It's kind of simple. So I don't know how to feel about this one. I guess one of the main issues is that swoosh that goes there. I don't know if there's a reason for it to be there. And again, all the problem with all these logos is that it was just based on aesthetics. I never sketch anything. I would just try different things on the computer, and that was like a very bad process. Okay, so this is the very first logo that I created for my company, for my business, I would say. So I used to call it centinela, and that's kind of sentinel in English. I don't know if that's if I just made that word up. It's kind of the guy that watches over a tower. I don't know. So the reason why I create that name is like to me, in order for you to create this type of designs, you have to be like very creative, and have your senses like very refined, like the centinela, like sentinel. I don't know. And so that was kind of the concept that I created. Again, I was just focused on creativity. It's called Creative Solutions, or that's kind of the description. But and this is how I used it. Again, like I offer graphic design, web design, and this is back in 2006, 2007, something like that. And this swooshes that were like super popular. I think that style was brought by Coca-Cola back in those days. Everybody was just using them. And like then it moved to this one where I just created this symbol that again looked like glass, looked like 3D, and I was like, oh my god, this looks beautiful. Like, how come you're able to create in the computer something that looks like a 3D thing? And I was like, oh wow, this is so good. And I was like amazed about the fact that I could connect the N to the B. It's like, oh god. And so the descriptor that I created there is like a menu of a website. So yeah, it's awful. And the way that like in the symbol, the way that the circle, the white semicircle is almost touching the border of the green circle or the green shape, it creates some visual tension that is not that necessary. So I was trying to play with the power on and off button, and the way that when you put it like that, it forms like an E, or the C of centinela. I mean, I don't know. I just was playing with things, and then I made it like a little bit more flat designer. It had like almost the same issues, and then there was this guy that it was like a guy from the United States that came here, one of those Americans that moved here to live like at least for a while, and then he told me, because I created a logo for him. I'm gonna show that logo to you in a bit, but he told me that he wanted to create with me a new business, because he knew a lot of people back in New York where he was from, and that we could create a company, and that we can work with the clients that he already had. So I was like very excited. He already had this name. He called it Ecor. And I asked him, like, what does it mean? And he said, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like an abstract name. He said, I wanted to have like something short that didn't mean anything, and that I could have kind of the domain name available and like a short brand. So I thought it was cool. I liked the name. I liked how the circle kind of connected with the C and with the R. Again, all this didn't have like a concept or like a reason of why this is. And if you look up at the corner of your screen, there is my logo, my current logo, CENTOR CS. And this is where this is coming from. It's coming from those days where the company was going to be named this. At the end, he had like some issues, some personal issues, and he had to come back to the States, and we couldn't actually do the company. But I kept the idea, kept kind of the logo, and kind of like joined the concept that I had of the centinela logo, and I kind of put it together with this new name, and that's why it's called CENTOR. So now you know then where this name is coming from. So yeah, at the beginning was just the color that we created, or that we chose for this client, for that business. And then I thought, let's do something that looks like a little bit more maybe serious or sophisticated. I don't know. So that's why I chose this. This was at the end of 2012 or 13, where I actually stopped working in graphic design and moved to Amazon. And this is, I included this here because it's like a good example of the concept of the visual style that was very present in the 2000s. Is like they like we wanted to impress you with all these things that we could do. Like we can do this reflections, we can put a circle and put the map of the world, and then below there we could put like a cool image of, but again, like none of these things have like a strategy. There is not a reason why these things are glowing, or there's not a reason why this is a photo of, I don't know, some galaxies or the universe or anything like that. It's just like aesthetics. It's, to me, this looked like really good, and that's why I put it there. And this is kind of the style of design that was, very present back in those days. Very aesthetic design. But nowadays, it's all about strategy. It's all about solving the customer's problem. So yeah, that's why I think like today is super different. This is an example. I'm going to start moving a little bit faster because I'm aware that, I've been talking for a long time now. So yeah, this is a car wash logo. Again, just aesthetics. I just put things together to look cool and call it a day. Then this one is interesting because when you see the kind of monogram, it kind of makes sense to put a G with a J together and form like kind of a cool monogram. So the monogram I would not complain about. I think it's kind of cool, I would say. But the typography that I chose is just like super bad and it's like barely legible. So this brand had like other sub brands, and this is how I resolved it. Again, like the reflections were like a cool thing back in those days, and but when you see those icons, it's just like icons. They're not like logos. So this is like a really bad way of making sub brands. Language is cool. Has like a lot of things going on. I don't know. This is like a mascot that I got from a place, and I just put it there. So this was like a law firm that was called Montesol, and so that's how they started. I actually worked with this guy for a while. We got some clients and stuff, but then I decided to kind of move to work by myself. And then this logo morphed into this. So the reason why the soul, the last part of the name is like that is because it's another part of the name. So that's one of the mistakes of that logo, is like just changing the typography based on something that people will not understand right away. So yeah, it just makes all the letters look like really regular, like for no reason. This elephant, I just drew it from like a picture that I got from somewhere. But it's it's not that bad, I guess, but it's not like something real or authentic or anything. This is actually I actually didn't remember this one. When I found it, I was like, this is interesting, because I really like the D. I mean, maybe with a better graphic style, it's kind of good. This was like a business that I remember there was this guy trying to create this. He actually never created the business at the end of the day, but I think that the D is kind of cool. That's kind of creative, and yeah, maybe at some point I'm going to use it for something else. Now look at this one. This is super crazy. This is for a hardware store, and so since we're very close to the beach, they wanted to. In the brief, they told me, I want something that has to do with a dolphin. I want a dolphin into the logo. So I thought, is there a way that I can start creating a dolphin out of this type of tools? And so I did this. I mean, I think, again, I think this is creative, but this is awful. This is not even aesthetic. It It has a lot of elements. Look at the roof. Look at the typography. It's all over. This is just a mess. This is easily the worst logo that I ever designed. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's creative, but yeah, it's a mess. And this again, another real estate agency. There's not much to say here. This one was funny because I remember seeing this logo in the streets, like in the street signs, for years and years, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't, I was not expecting this logo to last for that long. But I guess this one lasted like, I don't know, like I would say 20 years or something. It was crazy. No, like 16 years. Yeah. Now, this one is very special because this was a friend of mine that died some years ago, and he had like a supermarket close to the beach. So yeah, I created this. I think the bag is not a bad idea, and the design, is structured by colors, and it's not that bad. But the typography is not a typography for a restaurant. It's not. I'm sorry, for a supermarket. And yes, aesthetically it's pleasing, but it's not even appropriate. And this one I put it here because this was one of my first logos. When I actually created this logo, I had to ask one of my friends to draw that shape of a car, which is like super cliche. They're like a car sale store, and so I had to ask one of my friends to actually draw that line, because I like when this logo is one of the very first ones that I created. When this was designed, I didn't even know how to do that red thing. And when you look at it today, it's super simple. It's like super simple. But at that point, I had like no clue how to do that, and I had to ask one of my friends to do it for me. This is one of those logos where I just stole the symbol from somewhere else, and since this was going to be used like locally, then I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a problem, and I just chose this balance, which is not balanced. So yeah, this one is a mess. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about this one. This one was funny because this was for my one of my ex mothers-in-law, and I thought it was funny to put the U as kind of I don't even know how to say that word in English, but this is like a one of those plants that you put in your office. And so I thought it was creative to put the V as two little leaves. And so when you look at the logo, the symbol, yes, it's creative, but what does that have to do with the brand itself? What does that have to do with her as a lawyer? Like, which is nothing. And another logo that was for real estate. I told you there was a lot of real estate logos that, again, just like aesthetics, there's not much to say. This was for a flower shop that I think still exists. I'm not sure, but this went on for years and years and years. So yeah, I designed this in fireworks, and the symbol. And the way I design it is that I pull the kind of the borders of the shape, and then I created this. But oh my god, I didn't know that much. And then this was a logo that I created for this guy that the guy for Ekur, that wanted to form a new business with me. That's what the logo that I created for him, and this And this was like a really difficult project to work with, because the client had like a lot of ideas, and he was kind of the art director. He was telling me, do this, do that, and do the typography in this way, and so yeah, this was one of those clients that I had where they were the ones, and I was just like a mouse, just moving pixels. So yeah, I have those experiences where you're not in charge of the design, and it's the worst. It's the worst, and it's like so time consuming. And the worst part is that everything was based on aesthetics. There was there was nothing based on strategy. And this was one of his friends that he referred me to. So it was cool because I was like, oh my God, I'm like, now I'm designing something for somebody in New York. So it's so cool. So yeah, again, it's like, this already looks old. And this was one of my very first logos. I think this was created in 2008. Again, it was for a logo of a friend that I visited in the States. And yeah, it has so many wrong things. Look at the palm trees. And the base of the palm tree, they're not even connected to the base. I didn't know. I didn't have even that, idea of closing that. And this was for a website that I was creating, and they didn't have the logo, so I did that. And yeah. Oh, look at this. This is like the epiphany of me trying to impress the client with all the special effects that you could find in fireworks. So I just throw every effect that I could find. This one was very interesting because this was, I think, one of my few projects of packaging. There was this chocolates that were created by some natives in the south of the country, and so there was a very cool project where she was an American that came to live here in Costa Rica, and she was helping this tribe to kind of have money, and she helped them create these chocolates. And so she actually told me how she wanted the logo, and she kind of directed the whole thing. And so that's how this ended up looking like that. Even though this has these rainbows and stuff, it doesn't have to do anything with the LGBT community. It's just like Prisma, so the separation of colors, and that's it. It was that. And this another logo that I did for a website that I was creating, again, just based on aesthetics. And I think this was a graphic that I found somewhere in the internet, and I just used it like that. Oh, and okay, I'm gonna correct myself. This is actually the worst logo that I have ever created. So this was for the same lady that asked me to create this logo. She had this clear idea of what she wanted to do. So this is like a saint that was very special for her, and she created this food for animals, and so she wanted to have exactly this like that, and have a woman. Oh my God, this is just like this is so awful. So look at the hand. And the hand, it looks like so disconnected with the color of her face. And, oh my God. So this is a logo that is interesting because when you look at it, it's not that bad of an idea. So depending on the concept, this could be a good logo. This could work. And this was for a brand of teachers that is playing with the words that is called chemas. So chemas in English would be like teacher plus, but when you translate that into Spanish, into Costa Rican specifically, that means teachers. So it's kind of a play with the name there. And so that's why we created this logo. I don't think that they end up using this brand to create any t-shirts at the end, but I thought it was like an interesting, an interesting logo because it was very organic. So this was not that bad. I think this is one of the not that bad logos, and this was for an English school. Again, I didn't have any clue of typography. There are drop shadows all over the place. Yeah. This one was for a friend that had like a company, and yeah, I was playing with these little dots that kind of created like like a V shape. So yeah, these are all the logos that, well, not all of them. There's some of them that I didn't put here because I thought that there were like already too many, and also that they were like, they're not even logos, they were like just a word and some background and that's it. So yeah, I actually was surprised yesterday when I put together all these logos, because I didn't know that, because when you count them, there are almost 40 to 50 logos, something like that. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lot doing all this about how to deal with clients, and how to do research for references. And back in those days, we didn't have those tools. So the website that we used was called logopond.com. Yeah, that was a logo. So my biggest advice for you guys that you want to create a logo is don't start on the software. Start first trying to understand what is the DNA of the brand, see how you can translate that into graphics, and then start sketching and reiterate and do a lot of versions, do a lot of iterations, so that at the end you come up with something that you're proud of. Because I cannot, I have a lot of logos that I have created, but I cannot put, I think, none of this on my portfolio because I'm not proud of them now. Like I'm not proud of them. I'm proud of them. Like I'm proud that I did this in the past with the limited knowledge that I had, because I never went to design school or anything like that. I just learned all this by myself. But so I'm proud of myself in that sense. But these are not logos that I could call representative of the work that I do nowadays. So if you want to know what type of work, if you just came to this website or to this YouTube channel and you're wondering, so what type of work you're doing right now, right here, like at the bottom of that slide is my website, centorcs.com, so that you can see how different the work that I do nowadays is. I don't think it has to do with aesthetics. I think it has to do with strategy and do something that actually works. So thank you very much for this was like a long video. I don't even know if somebody's going to arrive to this point. Comment below if you arrived at this point of the video. But I just wanted to do this to kind of being here, sharing this moment with me of just looking back at those logos and see over like a lot of things that I learned and how things are different today. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm gonna try to keep uploading every week different things. Like right now I'm working on a course of graphic design. You can see some of the videos in the channel, but I will be uploading more variety of videos now, not only just graphic design courses or stuff like that, but a little bit always related with brand design. So thank you very much for watching, and remember, never allow fear to steal your happiness. See you.